Hello and welcome to the podcast for Airheads, and I'm joined with the one and only Carl McSorley.
Rich.
And I'm going to press play now. This is a very unplanned podcast. Basically, this will be the first podcast mastered on the new system. What I was going to do tonight, and then Carl was available, so we've just decided to do Airheads. I absolutely love this film, and I've got a lot of waffle. I'm going to warn you now, a lot of fucking waffle when it comes to this movie. But Carl, how did...
Take a backseat then.
No, wait, the thing is, right, this is one... I'll tell you why I ended up watching this recently. Now, let's quickly just talk about the 90s here, because this, to me, was an era of amazing intros, amazing song. Reminds me a little bit of Biodome a bit as well, and Freaked. Basically, I love this film. I bought the soundtrack to this film with my own pocket money. I've got one of the original soundtracks where the track listing's misprinted.
Right.
I've had the VHS since I can remember. It's not because of Adam Sandler and that. I just remember the trailer was all over the place. And recently I said to Casper, saying, "Oh, doesn't wear a helmet, does he?" And we both looked at each other and went, "What the fuck's that off?" And it's from the trailer. It took us weeks to remember, but I just absolutely love this movie. As I said, it was heavily trailered the fuck on the era of big time VHS. It was everywhere. What was your encounter of it?
Going back to very much how it all starts for me, VHS rental, I think. I think it was one of those things where, funny enough, like over time, like where we are now and today, you know, you say that all three of these guys are absolutely legends in the making, but at the same time, this is such a cast. You know what I mean? Like, literally every scene will have someone who you'll know, and I just remember it being so bonkers. Like, it's just kind of like lived in that kind of, I have no idea what to expect, but it looked cool. The cover looked cool. The actors were kind of somewhat familiar. Still, by that point, I wasn't entirely sure who some of them were. But, it's a classic, easy.
Well, you know, Brendan Fraser was heavily marketed this time because there was another film at the time called Scout. And that was, billed as a laugh-out-loud comedy, but it wasn't. But I think, like, the trailer, I think just the whole idea, it's an amazing publicity stunt. It's an amazing idea for the film. It's obviously shot right outside of the Nakatomi Tower, which I only realised there's so much going on in this movie. There's so many cameos. And, you know, it's also the birth of Adam Sandler's rise, because obviously him and Steve Buscemi would go on to be such a powerhouse. And there's a lot of people connections here. But Brendan Fraser hasn't worked with Adam Sandler since this, except for a brief cameo in Dickie Roberts' former child star.
But didn't it, like, massively take a different trajectory? You know, like, obviously Brendan Fraser was being marketed as the action hero.
Well, he wasn't, though. Hang on.
Adam Sandler was just a slapstick comedy.
No. Dig yourself a little grave there, Carl. Brendan Fraser, yes, he was in The Mummy, and he did stuff like Passion of Darkly Noon and some weird, creepy-ass shit. But Brendan Fraser also did George of the Jungle and Dudley Do-Right.
Oh, I mean, don't get me wrong, he belonged in both camps. But I feel like Hollywood was really trying to push him as being the actual the action star.
Oh, yeah.
I think, in my opinion anyway, I mean, don't get me wrong, I think that was what made him work so well, is that his goofiness and his likability didn't make him too serious.
He owns this.
I mean, he's got the physique, you know, he clearly has the acting ability.
Yeah, he owns it.
At the same time, maybe it was just, different managers, man. You know, like when it comes to Hollywood, you know, some people get pushed in one room, the other person gets pushed in another.
Well, we often talk about this with the two Coreys. Could this have been a script that was given to them if they were actually on par? But this seems to be a very well cast all-around movie, because here's Judd Nelson as well, who's almost unrecognisable as Breakfast Club, and we just had Joe Manor again. He's been in a lot of stuff like Criminal Minds, but obviously voice of The Simpsons as well, who I think is absolutely brilliant in here. And I just think it's a really good little foreshadowing here of Sons of Thunder on the telly there. I love the shot coming up here when she chucks the makeup bag at him, because it's fucking brutal. There's no stunt double. It's just wham in the face. But again, I think I've got to give this film a lot of love for my interest in the movie, because obviously White Zombie's in it later on. They're on the soundtrack. The song that they build up all the way through the movie pays off. Degenerate. I think it's a class song if you actually hear it in full. And there's just some really good tunes. But as here comes the makeup bag. It just goes boom right in his fucking face. I've still got this on VHS. Amazing artwork. Stand up, again, I think why they don't do it now for Usual Suspects nicked it from them. I would say, because Airheads has got Brendan Fraser, Steve Buscemi, Adam Sandler on the side, and the DVD, which I'm looking at, has the three heads down the side, the names, and it's such a shit cover, like. But again, it's not available, and I think for this not to be on any kind of score as well, it's a bit of a crime.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, to be fair, now would be the time, I think. I think it would be a perfect time to do a re-release on it.
Well, it's on Fox, so this is probably is on Disney Plus.
I don't know. I don't think I've seen it on Disney Plus, but it could possibly be.
It's something that could probably end up on Disney Plus. I mean, it's under the Fox label, but we've talked about this before. Stuff like License to Drive. I mean, I'm just going to pick up the DVD here. The DVD is 20th Century Fox, and VHS is 20th Century Fox. Fox Video. So again, there's a line in the sand where the Fox Video titles are. But this was so advertised, because it even had had that, and it's like so quotable. It's like the Lone Rangers. How can you provide Lone Rangers? There's more than one of you. I'm not following you right now. And like, obviously, he doesn't wear a helmet, does he? You broke into a record station. But again, it's the 90s, though. There was a lot of, coming off the end of the wackiness. I mean, Wayne's World was really popular, so like Wayne's World would have opened up there, and it's got that Venice Beach kind of look to it as well. But you're right, Brendan Fraser, California Man or Encino Man, that was a really big hit. Here comes Steve Buscemi. Steve Buscemi had been in stuff like New Jack City and some really serious dramas as a creep. And again, I think he shows you how much of a funny comedian he is in this, because he was like kind of the creepiness. But I think Brendan Fraser owns it. I think he really channels into it. There's Stretch Armstrong as well on the stuff. Is one thing I love about...
Did you have a Stretch Armstrong?
Yes, I did, and his arm broke. Got it.
False advertising.
And here comes Adam Sandler, very young Adam Sandler. I don't think he was in much prior to this. I think he popped up in Coneheads, which I think would have some connection to this. Obviously, that Overboard film. He'd been trying to get in here, but this was obviously just before the boom of Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison, I think, were the films that follow. So he kind of had a roller coaster uprise in the 90s, where Jim Carrey also had as well.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, though, this must have been before Adam Sandler got in with the SNL crowd.
I think it's there because
about that time, because we've got Chris Farley in this as well somewhere.
SNL crowd's definitely there's some capacity here. It's definitely Sandler's bigger film, but there's loads of stuff. I mean, even the fact that he's a pool cleaner, and there's so much subtle stuff here. One of the things I loved to this as a kid is one of my favourite bands is Therapy, which is an Irish band. And at the time, they had a really big album called Nurse, and there's an actual poster coming up in their apartment. And I think that's so fucking cool looking back now, because Therapy's had like 16 albums or something crazy now. And again, it just seems to have a great soundtrack. So they've just got an apartment there. You got a White Zombie poster on the left there, and as it pans around, there's the eye on the wall, and that's Therapy, and it's, I'm going after the see Nick in the shop, and there it is in the background on the door with him. Crash Test Dummies, another thing. But Steve Buscemi, like, he would do this, then he would do a film like Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead, and he plays like fucking creepy ass psychopaths, and I don't think he's so much a chameleon, but I think he's just like can turn on the creep like.
I think he has like the ability to understand a role though. Like, I think that's something that you can probably argue with. A lot of actors don't always get that. I think with Buscemi is that he's very intelligent. And if you turn around and say, this is your character, I want you to be dumb, I want you to be funny, I want you to be serial killer-esque. And I think he just understands the method.
Sin City poster there, dude.
I think I'd agree. I wouldn't say he's a chameleon, but I would say that if you wanted someone in a role that you weren't sure how the role was supposed to be looking like, I would say Buscemi's definitely one of those ones you throw in there just to see what he does with it.
Yeah. There was a Sin City poster there as well on the wall.
I'm going to say...
Oh, it's all long gone now at the stage. Adam Sandler, big hair.
I'm just getting Stretch Armstrong, get his face full of chili.
Shut up, man. I'm at the gig now.
Well, it's the gig now. The guy's on the stage. He's
Sons of Thunder.
Sons of Thunder.
So he's the next big celebrity coming in here. Michael Caine. Guess what? He was in X-Files. But also, he was also in Short Circuit 2. He's been in quite a lot of stuff. But yeah. Sons of Thunder. This song isn't on the soundtrack.
Now, knowing that you're a bit of a fan of The Answer, as well as this film, so I'm very curious, just to throw it out there, just to kind of throw some little facts and trivia at you. Who, in fact, was the first choice to play Chaz? Because it wasn't who we have. There was actually someone originally in place.
Got to be Matt Dillon.
Nah. I'm going to give you a massive clue. His initials are JC.
JC? Nah, give up.
John Cusack.
Really? Nah, I wouldn't have rated it. It's a different kind of character. I can't see. I think Brendan Fraser. I think all three of these nail this.
I mean, the thing is, though, that's the genius of Hollywood, really, you know, when they say, like, you want to sit there and go, oh, yeah, John Cusack was in the talks, but, like, that's one of the things I love about it, is I like to think that John Cusack had the weight behind him, but then someone like Brendan Fraser came in and went, fuck, we're going to have to give it to him. He nailed it. So, like you say, he definitely nailed it. But it's interesting how you get, like, these names that pop up. This person was invested first, and I was like, yeah, but that's just a random name that you think, that'll work.
There's the Nakatomi Tower.
Yeah.
Fox Plaza.
No.
Rebel Radio. So, again, the idea, the break-in with water pistols, it would probably be a no-go. I think you would struggle to get that done now. It's, very Game Boy gear.
I had that, mind. Not many people did, but...
No, I didn't. I had a Game Boy, but I know that there are a lot of people who did have it and stuff like that.
Sonic 2 and Battletoads. That's what I had.
Fuck off with Battletoads, mate.
I could say you got a history with that, haven't you?
Yeah. Carl once ordered me Battletoads, and it just disappeared.
Still waiting.
They denied all knowledge of its existence, like they did with fucking X-Files. And then it's one of the only vinyls still available, because Zavi doesn't do fucking vinyls now, apparently.
But didn't it, like, reappear on the website?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, after fucking years.
I think, like they say, with the nature of this film, it's obviously, I mean, even when I watched it as a kid, you don't really think of it as, like, I mean, obviously they're not bad guys, but you know what I mean? Like, I never really saw the, like, severity of them, like, holding a radio station hostage as, like, a serious thing. I just always think, it is, you're going to kick them out later on. You don't really see it as actually it gets quite serious, and, people actually believe them having real guns and stuff like that. It never really occurred to me, like, how bad it was. It was just like, they're just a couple of goofy guys.
I mean, Spinal Tap and all that, this is Spinal Tap, but also bad news from, obviously, Ed Edmondson and Rick Mail and all that. Like, bands' stories are legendary, and half the time it's better, like, if myths and rumours and stuff like that, but, like, taking stories and just it gets, you know what I mean? It's showing you how hard it is, and it's still as hard to break into the music business, I would say.
Oh, yeah. I think you've got a better chance of getting exposure, but the problem is the exposure to only what you look like.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, like you see a lot of people who are nobodies who are getting a lot of, like, you just have to be like a TikTok artist now, or, you know, someone who's on YouTube to, like, kind of grab some sort of weight, but at the same time, like I say, you still have to have a right base for it.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just the walks of life, isn't it? It's what's hot, and you know, it's like, you know, 15 minutes of fame. I think that's always going to be a thing. Do you know what I mean? That's a thing.
Yeah.
So the break into the radio station here. Obviously, I think Joe Montana. I think that's his name. I think he absolutely nails this. It's a radio station, and then the next one to appear is the guy with the tash who is in Problem Child and been in quite a lot as well. I think he's in Seinfeld.
Right. Oh, I know who you're on about, yeah.
Now, Carl is lagging like he normally does behind us, so he hasn't got there yet. But this story here as well, this is like the negotiation that they are going soft, and obviously it's going to be a twist that the radio station's going out there. But a radio station must be a hard thing, especially in the modern era, you know what I mean? Adverts, music licenses and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm I'm around about where you were about 2 minutes ago now.
Well, I tell you what, for the crack, everyone's meant to be watching me, Carl, so you're going to have to play a catch-up. I can't pause.
Hey, listen, this is your boat. I'm just sailing it. I'm here to enjoy the ride.
You're sailing it while Paul Ray sank to the floor. So this is ingenious here.
I mean, this has, sorry, I was going to say, this has 90 just all over it, like the corporate look, you know, the office, the deco. It's something that you got to say, like, I mean, I would say 80s film are by far the best, but there's something very much at home about a 90s film.
There was a lot of hit and miss in the 90s.
Don't ever look the same again.
There's a lot. Say, for example, I wouldn't see this as a big hit at the cinema. I see it as a big hit on VHS because you were living the hype then, and the 90s had a chance of, like, again, talking about how trailered this film was. That's what I'm talking about. It was just an event. It was hype. You've seen it on multiple trailers. Like Maverick was a big film to come out because of how much it was trailered. Wasn't like the cinema. You missed it at the cinema. What's on at the cinema? VHS was in full swing at the era of this movie coming out. And I said, I think it's just right.
But it's just really, I mean, this is it though. This is a sign of a good film. You know, like we always say, like obviously everyone has a taste. Everyone kind of like what they like. But there's something about a film that's talked about so much that it gravitates its own success. You know what I mean? It's like you're saying, you talk about Maverick and stuff like that. I mean, that film shouldn't have worked. You know, if I get like really nerdy with you, it's just a rehash of Star Wars, but they made it work for themselves. And so in this case, again, you've got the right cast, you've got a lot of energy behind it. You can tell they're having a blast. Every single person involved in this film just enjoying the life of being in a film. And I think it comes off more genuine. I don't think you could obviously go as far as saying there's probably not that much of a script. There probably is. But like, I would believe them saying, like, basically you've got an outline, just talk. I feel like that's where a lot of these dialogues come from. They're just basically just like, you say the most ridiculous thing and we'll come up with a response.
Well, as well as this is kind of like a Hollywood movie as well. Obviously, the Fox Plaza's there. This will be a set. You know, there's once now they're in here. Obviously, shooting in Hollywood as well. They're not trying to do it in Vancouver. And if you are filming Hollywood, it's obviously that's how you can get a lot more because there's a fuckload of cameos coming up now. I mean, we are establishing the casts, and I think like the baddie's called Milo and stuff like that. The guns haven't come out yet. And the fact that as well, like the sign of the times, they bring a reel to reel or a tape. They don't have a CD.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah.
Oh, he's got a gun.
But this was it's a bit of a flop, this, you know, financially.
Oh, it was. I mean, because like
No, I mean, I didn't think it was as much, I'll be honest with you. So, like, I'm just looking it up there now, because actually, funny enough, the budget's not on IMDb. I've had to go out my sources. But this was 11.2 million to make. Yet, let's just double check. And its gross worldwide was $5,751,882. So, like, a significant flop. But again, I think that's not like a massive knock, in my opinion, because again, these are like a lot of unknowns. You know what I mean? Like, there's not an awful lot of people in here that's going to be like drawing the market.
Oh, this isn't an Adam Sandler film. Adam Sandler is like, he is a support. He's getting his big break here. This is riding on Brendan Fraser, and this is Brendan Fraser coming off the tail end of, you know, like, I'm surprised Paulie Shaw's not in this, but like, he's just done Encino Man, and again, stuff like The Scout and that. He's got stuff coming, but this is still early on. You know what I mean? It's not an Adam Sandler movie. Yeah, Gandhi one's skipping around. Even the guy who comes in as the main, like the corporate guy, he's been in loads. He was in Total Recall of one of the main bads. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But again, like I say, big ones. Seinfeld, I know, like, we get a lot of credit and a lot of different things, like, bit of a comedy genius, really, if he's time.
Yeah, you can. Fucking it's a real. We're not set up for this. But then they talk about how the fact that why they brought in the sound qualities and stuff like that. It's a big thing, you know. It's like getting studio time, getting a song down, doing the tours. It's like getting the experience.
Oh, I mean, like I say, even back in the day, it was very hard.
This guy's so funny. But he's been in loads as well. Stepping on my dick, man.
That's what I mean, like, the dialogue's like so bonkers, I just wouldn't question whether or not it was actually scripted. It was just like, just say whatever you think is cool.
I mean, it's always been a 15 as well. So it can be like, I mean, even Adam Sandler here get like, oh yeah, what do you mean, you people? You step back, man. You're standing on my dick. And then obviously one of the next people who's quite famous who works there is David Arquette.
Aye. Yeah, no, I was but that was it when I was the rolling credits on the beginning. I had a lot of names that were like, oh shit, I forgot about that person. You know, that sort of like.
Well, strangely enough, we were talking about doing possibly The Crow, and Ernie Hudson is in both these films.
Yeah. Well, there's actually 2 Ghostbusters in this film.
Yeah. Harold Ramis pops up as well. Lemmy pops up.
Aye.
But this thing here, like the subtle thing there, sets himself on fire. It's not on fire yet, but later on he ends up setting himself on fire.
Yeah. Who's this guy though? The one who's working on the recorder.
He's a popped up a lot of things. I think he was in Trespass.
He's famous, well known, isn't
he? Yeah, he's I don't want to say it's the guy from The Mask, the Doctor. We'll see you now, but like he's been in a lot, and he's carries a quite distinct voice. I'm sure he was recently in Trespass when I watched it. Well,
right.
The Lone Rangers. You're not exactly lone.
I mean, it's ridiculous, but I love
it. I'm really not getting you right now. It's so funny.
Oh. Oh, set himself on fire.
Shut up, man. I'm back in the booth.
Nah, I think I might just be literally second, because as soon as you say, "Oh, I'm here," I'm like, I go into that scene.
The Lone Rangers. He's just sitting there, and it starts squeaking up. But I remember, like, even having this in '96 in New Zealand and having it on me portable CD player. So the soundtrack I've got's been all the way around the world, and like, like searching for that music. So like White Zombie, like no one probably knew how fucking big Rob Zombie was going to be, but like I remember going, oh yeah, quite like White Zombie, but then like trying to find their albums and not available, then you like or travel, you know what I mean. And Biodome was out at this point when I was in New Zealand, because I remember finding the Biodome soundtrack. There you go, it's the Inbreed. What now we're gonna do? Run. Again, it just at that point it was just introducing you into new music, which I found quite good.
Well, this is it, because I mean, that's not like mainstream music, is it? It's not something that you're going to hear as much on the radio, ironically, given the film.
Well, its soundtracks are always weird. I was talking to Casper about this the other day, but this is a bit weird. The copper here, by the way, is Alan Corvette, who's in every Adam Sandler film. You're not even there yet, are you?
No, the recorder just stopped playing.
He is, right. Well, I'm going to pause. So everyone at home's going to pause for Carl.
It's on fire now.
Right.
Yep, it's on fire.
Aye. Aye, so basically when you go, I'm literally paused as soon as he walks out the door. How we're doing at your end, eh? Any more further forward?
They've just ran, somebody just shouted run, and now they're running down the hallway.
Now this is the difference between me watching it on DVD and you watching it digitally. It's weird, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, we always have a slight issue, don't we? I mean, even if I'm watching streaming and you're watching DVD or something like that, I think even myself and Paul Reyes have our fair share of being like slightly out of sync, which goes to show you that obviously there is a difference between physical media and streaming, as we could very much talk about forever in terms of how much of a difference there is.
So are you outside and can see the copper now?
Adam Sandler's now having like his little standoff with the officer.
But yeah, he's been in lots. He's like the hobo. He's in loads. He's the gay guy in Little Nicky.
Yeah, well, like, you know what I thought of big, not big. What you call it? What the hell is that Adam Sandler film called?
Oh, he's in everything.
Oh, Big Daddy. No, because I know, I mean, I'm looking at the guy's face and I can see him in a lot of things, but for some reason, Big Daddy's what came to mind when I saw his face. Right, now they've just realised they're completely surrounded.
Excuse me, we'll round everyone up. There we go, David Arquette has appeared on the screen there. Picture of Therapy on the wall behind him as well, never noticed that before. Little black and white picture, obviously Megadeth and all that. So, but again, Therapy isn't on the soundtrack, so that's a bit of a shame.
I mean, there's a lot of bands on that wall though, so I suppose you can't get them all.
No, but like the fact that there's a picture there looks quite signed and a poster prior, which they would have had to have some form of clearance for because it's banning shot.
Some sort of consent.
And then not to be on the soundtrack. So like again at the time, we're talking about an Irish band. You know what I mean? Sort of bringing it big. I know when people go, "Oh, best Irish band," U2, fuck off. Boyzone, fuck off. Oh, fucking American events, man. Being able to crawl through them and shit.
Well, this is it. I mean, is that even true, though? Is this not like the biggest movie thing ever where they're not actually like this? I always get that. I'm sure that's a thing what been mentioned in the past, where like it's never really been a thing that's true. It's just obviously to work on films that were a lot easier.
Everyone gets to sit in the chair, but you. Another funny bit.
It's funny, because it's been a lot of years since I've watched it, and this scene is about as clear as yesterday. I just totally remember. I'm going to say like now everyone gets to sit down except him.
And then Chris Farley appears. I'm surprised David Spade's not in it, mind.
I mean, this is it though. I mean, it's a weird one because it's got to be kind of like, surely they're all having the same conversation with each other. It's almost like, well, hold on a minute, it's, they're all joint at hip at this point. But maybe you'd like to see the budget,
Ernie Hudson is one actor who looks completely different with a tash.
Yeah. Now, I can't help. Did you ever watch that David Arquette documentary?
No, I've never seen it to get down, and I think when I had a search trying to get Brit to watch a documentary that maybe isn't tells, wrestling's a bit of a hard push.
It honestly, mate, it's like it breaks your heart. For anyone who didn't know what I'm talking about, it's called "You Cannot Kill" David Arquette, and it's just like one of those things where like a lot of the issue was not really his issue at all, and he's pretty messed up now today for it. But at the same time, it's like you see him now, and like you say, just a young actor on the screen. But like I say, when you watch that film, that documentary, it kind of brings it into perspective for you. And still quite close to like Courtney Cox and that, which was quite interesting.
Everyone sit down, make a plan. I love how they all start ganging up them. Are we still on the air? Fuck. Even subtle things in the background, like the red and blue light flashing in the back of the screen, stuff that you would probably put in with CGI now. I think it's like, even like shooting multiple through glass, I think it's very clever as a set, you know what I mean? It's like, you would have to really be careful about the backdrops and all this, like, but here you go as well. Obviously Adam Sandler putting on there one of the rare sex scenes, because Adam Sandler I don't think really does sex scenes. Not that I've seen.
Nah, I think it's always like kind of overhammed. If he'd ever had like a romantic scene or anything like that, I think it always tend to be like a little bit like so over the top. It's just mocking it rather than ever actually being a legitimate moment.
I think Brendan Fraser does a lot with his eyes.
Say that again, please.
Brendan Fraser can do quite a lot with his eyes, I think.
Oh, yeah. Like I say, I think that's it though. Like as a good guy, like he kind of does generally have everything really good from. Obviously he's got that look, he's got the physique, but then obviously, like I say, he can be a complete goofy idiot. But at the same time, you're going to watch The Mummy and you can actually believe him to be an actual, genuine action star. But, and again, he's proven the fact that he can own a role, because, for anyone who hasn't seen it, The Whale, you know what I mean? That was one of his most recent ones, which he got the Oscar for. But it was fantastic performance, and again, he's not really doing an awful lot, but like you see it, it's like the visual that he has on his face when he's delivering the dialogue, it's just like he's definitely owning it.
Ernie Hudson's a really good actor as well there. He's got he's a very solid actor. I
feel like he's really had to work for his legitimacy though, hasn't he? Because I think even Ghostbusters was like, he's never really fully given his kind of due for that, I think. He was always still like kind of treated the extra guy in the team. Obviously the Eddie Murphy thing, the whole thing of it on its own. But I mean, he's done well for himself. I think even all the years, even though the Ghostbusters are just starting to revive themselves, I think he's done quite a good career. Basically, just riding that success.
He's in he was in loads of stuff at the time because he was in Congo at this time. He was in Leviathan a couple of years.
Crow, and I think we mentioned earlier, he didn't that playing the same role basically, but yeah.
I like Congo. Congo was a good one. I was devastated when I recently watched Congo because I actually picked it up on Blu-ray. And I was alright, Tim Curry's in there, Ernie Hudson's in there, Bruce Campbell's in it. And when the monkeys turn up at the end, I was like, why do they not look like what I remember? And then I remembered that, yeah, the monkeys are a little bit scary and all that, but it's the fucking primates in evolution that are fucking terrifying.
Trying to think of that. Is that Tim Curry?
Tim Curry, yeah. When they go looking, they go, bad monkey, bad. They do this kind of like trying to take the gorilla back to its native town.
That's right. Yeah.
Happens to be like the war
zone. Laura Linney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These Adam Sandler here. Why do you people not like me for? It's like fucking hell. But again, it's the crowd's building up, like following the radio station. What a publicity stunt if it was real.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, it's a unique film, There's nothing really out there that's like...
It's like one of these need to go out, let's get Al go, let's get one of the hostages, you fucking... I don't think there's an F-bomb in this. I think it's a film that, because 12 wasn't a thing when this came out, but I think, it's not very fuck-friendly. It doesn't say fuck everywhere. I think it's a very clean script, I would say.
Yeah, no, definitely aiming toward the younger audience, but just about. You can kind of see how they're damping on that line. But I'm just interested, though, because I've just said there's nothing very much like this out there, right? But what would a modern version of Airheads look like?
I generally think they would struggle.
It wouldn't work, would it really? I'm just trying to think of how it would work, but I just think it'll be weird.
Well, you can kind of see in this that there would have been, but there hasn't been as much. I'm trying to work it out because I don't want to get too much into this, but I'm thinking at this rate, in the public eye, there hadn't been as much shootings or terrorism at this point to not feel like this was it'd be quite edgy if they did it now. And I think they hadn't, because I don't there'd been films and stuff higher learning would come along about this time, and that was starting to bring it into that. But I think this was it's straight out the ball goofness, but again I don't watch it like that. I watch this film and I enjoy it,
This is it. It's not about it's high. It's not highbrow, It's not kind of trying to be anything other than just being a good time.
Even trying to scare him. But see, this is what we're talking about before. You could see the two Coreys being cast in these roles, and supporting that. And that's the kind of I had to talk about this a few weeks ago about what if, what if the narrow. And this is one of the films I said, if they'd play the cards right. But I do think this works well with fresher faces. But as we said before, Steve Buscemi, this is, I think, one of his first kind of comedy roles. He would be in Big Lebowski and stuff following this and still going to be that. But Adam Sandler was a new, they put some new blood into this movie, but it wasn't a draw. This wasn't an Adam Sandler movie.
No, this is it. Although I'd have to say though, that would be, that would be horrendous casting if you had the two Coreys doing any of these three roles. The only way I would see it being working is if they were a recurring comedy on the outside, just two kind of Corey Haim being a surfer dude with Ghetto Blaster and having that. I don't think any of them have the...
No, I'll give you that. I think Corey Haim has the
when you look
same.
at it here, right, just Buscemi looked like a bit of a redneck, you know, kind of rocker. You know, Adam Sandler's got, like, he's got the goopy, but yet he's quite soft. Whereas I don't think any of the two Corys have that in them to do that role.
Well, I'm thinking of, like, Feldman as well, because a couple of years before he did Rock and Roll High School Forever. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised if Feldman auditioned mine for it.
Yeah. Oh, but I mean, I could see them being in the mix for sure. I just feel like if you release that film with them two in the like I say, in one of the like the two of the trios, I don't know how that would work.
Yeah, because you've got to think as well. It is Fox, and Fox did License to Drive.
Right. Well, just to give you a little bit of rundown, because obviously you mentioned Buscemi there and what he's done. So this film came out. So he's actually quite busy in '94. So let's just go through. So quickly, he did the Hoodsucker Proxy.
Mm-hmm.
Never heard of it. He's a barman. The film called The Floundering. Never heard of it. What Happened to Pete? That's a short film, so probably not going to be that noticeable. He did Pulp Fiction. I forgot about that one. So he did that. He plays Buddy Holly.
Yeah.
That's a diner in it. I forgot about that. Somebody to Love. Me and the Mob. He did a TV series called The Adventures of Pete and Pete. In the Search of One-Eyed Jimmy. So that was all just in '94 alone. So busy lad, like Buscemi for being so early on.
Mm.
And then again, he actually has done a shit ton before that. So, like I say, he's actually been a consistently busy person. But I mean, obviously, I would say, I don't know, maybe Pulp Fiction was the first big break.
The guy with the ghetto blaster we've seen, he's got to be related to David Arquette. And this crowd.
The officer with the radio, he's been in a shit ton as well, I mean.
He's the main guy at the end of Total Recall.
That's right, yes.
He's in loads, yeah. Oh, tell you one of the best things, it'll happen soon, is when Beavis and Butthead ring up, man. Fucking genius. Oh. You guys suck. It's just so fucking random as fuck.
I say they're just having a lot of fun with it, aren't they? But like, they're not really taking it too seriously. I don't think anyone's sitting there going, right, this is your Oscar performance. You're literally gonna just go and just have a laugh, really, and make a film out of it.
Yeah.
Just for the record, because I hate to think anyone thought I was an idiot, which they would be wrong. They'll be right, sorry. Would say Big Break probably isn't Pulp Fiction in '94. I think it's probably a little film called Reservoir Dogs in '92.
Oh shit, Reservoir. Well, that's even big. I mean, again, yeah, you're right.
Massive that when you consider like that early in his game, and he was just like a steam sealer, you know, in that film. Like when you think of Reservoir Dogs, you think of Mr. Pink over than most of them. Right, it's all party time now.
A bit of weed smoke going past there. Hi.
Hey, you don't know what smoking, that could just be a regular babe.
This is when Beavis and Butthead ring up.
I kept doing, man. Honestly, that's like 5 minutes in now, he's still doing that same thing with the Game Boy, the Game Gear.
Here, it's Beavis and Butthead. You guys suck. We seen you. It's just so funny. So, but again, there's an MTV connection and a Mike Judd connection. With Beavis and Butthead appearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys suck. Yeah, come down and say it here, Limo. On the news now as well. So how far are you behind? Are you like still in purgatory there?
Let's see. I'd say Brendan Fraser's talking, but you're not going to know that scene. Sammy's just put his baseball cap on.
There you go, and typically takes a clip out of the fucking movies. Mobile phone needed. Oof, nice stunt fall there. I think that was quite a thing in the 90s as well. Weird cut out shapes and that kind of reminds us of toys and stuff like that. I love it as a taco van now turned up. And someone telling t-shirts.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing, yeah. People always saw t-shirts at anywhere you go.
Very weird shot as well when you can see the reflection in the glass.
Sammy now on the news. Flipping the bird.
But again, going back to what I said before with the lights flashing and behind it, if it's a well-built, I think that's just a well-built set, you know, as well. And then obviously they've got the car park outside. It's nighttime shoot, for example. So again, you know, all they're essentially doing, I mean, the set could be on one of the towers of Fox.
Yeah.
Because essentially there, if you look there, I mean, I know I'm a little bit ahead, but I'm standing as there. Essentially, it's that room in the background where that actor is. And that you can see all the way through, so there's no really hiding that. Now it'll be done with fucking green screens.
Very true.
Brendan Fraser has the Rock's eyebrow as well, doesn't he? He can actually lift that eyebrow quite high.
Well, I don't know his name, so I'm going to keep calling him Kramer from Seinfeld, but he's now just munching away, eating in the kitchen on the phone.
Michael somebody, I think. He gets quite a late billing, I think.
Obviously, it's like one of those faces, like, you're just always going to know who he is, just from his, like, even then he looks very different in this.
Kramer, innit? It's Kramer.
Stands out.
Kramer rings a bell.
Well, Kramer is his name in Seinfeld.
Yeah.
That's what he's. That's his famous, like, kind of role. Everyone knows him for that sort of thing. I'm going to have to Google it now because I'm bloody annoyed with myself.
Come see it. I think it's been it's dropped there as well.
Michael Richards, which is not nearly the name I thought it would have been. I thought it was going to be more obscure than that, but yeah.
The fucking car's smashing on the fucking tape. Dog pissing on a kick to fuck. There you go. He's the reveal that obviously the radio station. Joe Montana as well. Obviously popped up in he's in Office. He's not Office Space. Money Pit. As one of the Carpenter. Hey, you call it Carpenter. But obviously he had another big hit at the time as well. Baby's Day Out.
I love that film.
Whiskey A Go Go as well. Obviously the Hollywood Strip here. White Zombies playing. Again, this one as well, I think, like, Ace Ventura had a very similar scene when Cannibal Holocaust is Cannibal Corpse is playing. But is it Rob Zombie? That is Rob Zombie jumping in the background, isn't it? Yeah, it is. You know, again, another reason for it to kind of get a cult kind of following, you know?
Oh, I mean, this would have been easy publicity for them.
I love it now. This kid, what are you gonna do about that? And he rips his nipple ring off. He's going, improvise.
I love how it's all based on just like that one cassette that's just on the road near the destruction, but it's still there.
You are fucking well behind. Rob Zombie's been and gone. What are these? So we're pausing.
Turned up at Rob Zombie's concert.
Right, you tell me when you see a pair of white pants. White pants, Carl.
Oh, that's gone. Just literally.
What do you mean? He's...
Well, he pulled out the box.
No.
Do the CD, and then he holds up the white pants.
Nah, man. White Zombie. White Zombie's been and gone.
Right, so I'm looking at White Zombie on the stage.
Yeah, after that, let me know when that bit's done, mate.
Chris Farley's in the club.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to be watching?
When it cuts back to Joe Montana with the fucking pants.
Right. I say I might be watching the TV version. I bet you'll massively cut one of that.
That's probably a good shout, actually. Well, you will be. You'll be watching it on censored version now. No pants? No pants for Carl?
Oh, Chris Farley just being in the mosh pit. Joe's just walked in a room with pants.
Right, we're back on track. So, again, the world has had to wait for Carl. You've just begun to kick and scream. It's so quotable with even out like audio at my end. I mean, I know you normally listen to it with headphones in, but it's so quotable, like.
Well, I have got the subtitles on, so I am able to follow, just not hearing it, that's all.
All them blowjobs for nothing. It's just a subtle fucking line in the background, man. It's so bleak. All them blowjobs for nothing. You've just begun to kick and scream. And it just seems to say me, fight!
Fight.
There you go.
Rob Zombie back in action.
Meets at Yokara. Got a fucking death stare her like.
That was another one that popped up earlier on as well. Apparently, it was close becoming Christine Applegate's role that. Which, strangely enough, I remember coming on the screen straight away before going, I thought it reminds me of Christine Applegate. Now, seems like a nice time to jump into potential taglines. So, we have a couple for this film.
Hang on, let me get the one on the VHS.
One of them is the music, the legend, the hostage situation.
That shit.
Can I get through? The music made them do it.
Nah, that shit.
I know. Then we got, they were a rock and roll band that couldn't get arrested. That was before they took an entire radio station hostage.
Nah, shit.
That's just a sentence, not a tagline. The comedy with attitude.
Nah, that's not on the VHS or the DVD.
Get ready to laugh, rock and roll.
Yeah.
And the last one, hopefully, the amps are on, but nobody's home.
That's true. That's the one on there.
Is that the one on there?
Yeah.
I will say that's almost like a very recognisable scene. It's from a few minutes ago now, but when Chris Farley rips a nipple piercing out.
Ah, it's so funny.
His badge, I just remember that one being one of those things where it's just like, again, you just totally ingrained in your brain.
It's in the trailer as well. Improvise. What are you going to do about that?
Now, let's be honest. Is that tape really going to work now after that dog piss? I don't think it would.
What do we say, Carl? It's just a movie.
Just a movie. But, it's a gag. I get it. Hey, listen, this is a rare thing I can watch and go, I think I'm making it to the end.
It's just the bit where, like, number 13, naked pictures of B. Arthur. That's fucking the list of fucking good. You guys are crazy, man. You're all like, woo and shit. David Arquette, I mean,
clear that we're not endorsed by it, but I've just had a phone notification saying that Zavi is having a Lego Power Hour.
piss off. Naked pictures of B. Arthur. Who's that? Yeah, chick from the Golden Hour. I'm just a beat cop. Says a lot, like, he's got a lot of expression in the eyes. Smoking as well. Obviously, this will be, again, we were talking about why this wouldn't be on Disney Plus, with it being Fox. Smoking in a movie,
Yeah.
It's one of those things where would that scene be slightly cropped?
Yeah. Well, I did check earlier on when you mentioned the potential of being on Disney Plus. This is currently on no streaming services.
No, I mean, the DVD, as you said, quite rare. VHS. I mean, I've got the video shop poster. It's in a frame with a Corey Feldman movie called Voodoo, and it doesn't take it out of the frame because I've just seemed to mould it to the glass. So,
Right, yeah.
we're about to have a sexy scene on the couch. Acting so damn stupid. And he's keep like help. Why would you have a see-through thing into the vent?
It's a 90s, mate.
And a pool
Those
cleaning
have
gear.
bread. Why would you do it?
You do it because you want to. Pool cleaning gear. To lose his shit. Selling
Did
ads.
your cover has all three characters on the front then?
Yeah, but obviously I've got the VHS and the DVD. The VHS has seen better days. It's been, it's one of my originals. It takes great pride. I don't think it gets enough love because it starts with A, so obviously I have them in alphabetical order, so it sits in the top corner. This has Brendan Fraser and then the guy standing behind him in a police lineup thing.
Right.
And then the DVD is all white, and the guy's floating head syndrome's down the side.
And actually, that's the one I knew of. I was just looking at it, and there's a one that popped up. It's just like Brendan Fraser's got his back to you.
Yeah, that's
so it's a really bizarre way to promote it, because obviously you've got like all three names written on black front on white background, so it's very noticeable. And yet you wouldn't put all three of them on, and the one you do put on, you've literally got them completely covered, so you can't really see who it is. See, even the sex scene there is not like, I don't think you'd ever do a sex scene with Adam Sandler and have it take it seriously.
Tattoos, barbed wire 90s, that was a big thing in the 90s.
Oh, yes.
I always say that he says the Grim Reaper. I can't see it. All I see is like kind of like, like it's a weird looking tattoo that when he's revealing his Grim Reaper tattoo. Yeah. But again, I think there's a lot of stuff that on here is good. It's the whole I'm messed up. I might write a song that could live forever, and it's kind of like where Kurt Cobain came from, kind of thing. Because Nirvana would have been hit at this point, wouldn't they? Nirvana would have been on the uprise.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
And obviously new metal wasn't a thing yet, but he's right where he's in that. It's a very strong line in the thing. And I think at that time as well, the DJ is now with them. He knows that he's out of job, and he literally, I think he sees that he's sold. He knows that this guy's legit, and he's ready to go.
Yeah.
He starts, and the music goes up, and I think, like, again, a lot's done with one look. And I think, again, it's a nice little undertone thing.
I think it is. It kind of brings it down a bit, doesn't it? It's like it's all been very much slapstick at this point, but then you have to have some legitimacy to it. You have to kind of believe that there is actually a lot of passion involved in this, not just like a bunch of idiots trying to do something silly. Like they generally do want to be, you know, kind of successful through it. So you have to have that sort of legitimacy about it. So once the radio guy gets in on it, that's when you kind of know it's like, okay, we're on board.
It is quite a short film though as well. I mean, it's just under the hour and a half.
Hour and a half. It's not too bad.
88 minutes, man.
Yeah. But again, though, this is something that a lot of films can really, really learn from. One of my biggest problems with a lot of films these days is that there's not that many terrible films out there, but it's understanding what the story is and what you want to tell. Because there's been so many films in the last 2 years that I've walked out and immediately thought to myself, that's actually really good if you like trim 20 minutes off. If you take half an hour out of it. Because like I say, I think sometimes people just want to stand out and say, well, we've been given a budget of 2.5 hours, we've got to use it. And it's just like, nah, tell the story, but make it work.
I'll tell you a film I'm watching right now that is a victim of that, Blue Beetle.
Yeah, 100%. Well, you say Blue Beetle, I'll call it Ant-Man.
Blue Ant-Man.
There's too many, I'm sorry, like I can understand there's a million films in the world now, so when someone turns around and says, oh no, you know, that's just the same film as the other one. Yes, there is a lot of films out there, but Blue Beetle is essentially just beat for beat Ant-Man. It's almost criminal, it's plagiarism at its best. But, you know, people like it, you know, I'm down, you know.
I mean, it's
a really good film, so good for them.
And now we get the...
now Bentman's got a gun.
I'm a little bit ahead here. I've just heard a squeal. He's just found Adam Sandler and them humping. She seems to have lost all her makeup in the sex scene.
Well, if he does it well.
Got licked it all off.
Well, I mean, some people are into that kind of thing.
Yeah, Adam Sandler braving the whole cocksock here as well. Very trim as well. Adam Sandler, I think this is the trimmest he ever is. I think he put, you know, he looks quite heavy in Happy Gilmore. This is, I think, the slimmest he's ever been in a movie. Easy.
Oh, yeah, because he's very skinny in this in comparison, yeah.
There he is, Egon. Harlow Ramis is at the door.
Yep.
Because he never really had, you know, I mean, he went into more directing, didn't he?
Well, this is it. I think he was one of those who recognised where his energy was best spent. I mean, I thought he was a great actor by shot. I mean, Stripes and stuff like that, but it's one of those things where I feel like he does shine as a director. He understands it.
He's a writer as well. He wrote stuff like that, The Stripes as well, didn't he?
Yeah. And yet, I still think it's an interesting thing that if you put his face on a poster, I still think like most people wouldn't even recognise him. I don't think.
Not from...
He's got one of those weird faces. Like right now, when you look at him, of course he looks like Egon, but like not really. You know what I mean? I would say that's someone who looked like Egon rather than being the guy who actually is Egon. He always has that kind of look on his face. Whenever I see him in films, he doesn't quite look the same, but he kind of does.
Well, it's an interesting cameo because Ernie Hudson's there and you got like Harold Ramis there. It's, you know, it's a weird one.
I think again, I'm going to go back to the idea that I think the whole project is almost like a friend project. I think everyone just kind of like, there's been a handful of people connected to it and they said, right, can you bring anyone in? Oh yeah, I'll have a word with me with Ernie. You know what I mean? Or, you know what I'm saying? It seems like everyone's a friend of someone and that's how the cast is so ensemble.
Well, again, it's in Hollywood,
like
isn't it?
Everyone's connected to someone in some way.
I mean, I don't really know it, but off the top of my head, like, what the director actually done as well. Michael Lehman.
Because this was about, as one of the facts I remember reading, I was like, this was almost directed by someone else. But Michael Lehman, let's have a look at your body of work. Oh, one of your favourite films, Heathers.
Same director, really.
Yeah.
Well, there's his clout, though. Up until that point, there's his clout. He did Heathers. That's how he gets this film rolling.
Yeah, alright.
Oh, so they're, again, though, kind of like Christian Slater, kind of like era, you know, like a couple of years earlier, they pump up the volume thing. Lemmy's about to
I
make
tell you, it's actually a shame. I've just noticed his most recent work. He directed 2 episodes of a series called Heels, which I don't know
It's a wrestling one.
if you're familiar with.
Yeah.
And it's actually a really good series. Unfortunately, it's just been cancelled. So it's not, and it's really shit as well because it had a massive cliffhanger in the last episode. And it's one of those things, I think it suffered from its streaming service. It was on Stars. And I just feel like if you put it on something else, it might actually get an audience. I thought it was actually really well done, and it's a very much a respectable kind of approach to the indie wrestling world. They don't like kind of mock it and try and make fun of it. They just kind of take it. You can see they've done the research.
Yeah, Lemmy's about to make an appearance here as a cameo. There you go. I did D&D too.
There he is.
I used to masturbate constantly on his mates start braying him. I want your body. But they're obsessed with the idea and they haven't even heard the song.
Yeah. Well, it's in the concept. Sometimes the concept is just as important as the actual product.
Turn the power back on.
Well, it's interesting because obviously the director did this, but his very first director's debut was in 1985, which was a film called The Beaver Gets a Boner.
What now?
It's just only a short film, so Heathers is actually his first actual film, his first big film. Then something called Meet the Applegates, and then a Bruce Willis film after that, which was Hudson Hawk.
Oh, I mean, that's Hudson Hawk gets so much shit. I love Hudson Hawk.
But I mean, like I say, after this, he goes on, he does a few TV stuff, you know, West Wing.
West Wing, fucking
40 Days and 40 Nights. Let's see. Just flicking through it, seeing if there's any really big standouts. Like I say, he did a lot of TV. He's done a lot of TV, like Dexter, The Big C, Nurse Jackie, all these scenes. They've all got high ratings, so I assume people might know these ones. Yeah. His last one was Heels, but his last main film was a long time ago. He's literally strictly TV series now.
He's made some good ones, like. Thing is,
Stay busy.
I think is if you do a TV series though, especially when it's established and you come in just to do a few episodes, you don't you just hire to get it in the can. You know, you need the experience to like what is needed and doing that. So I mean, even if you're like, oh, I did that, but like a director's a director, you know what I mean? But again, I think in 88 minutes, I think what he does here, and especially what he does in Heathers. I think Heathers, you know, like there's so many characters there and the style of it.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen Hudson Hawk?
It's a film as well.
Yeah, because like Hudson Hawk, you ain't directing that. Bruce Willis is. You know what I mean? Like, fucking film is wild. But again, saying that, he does Heathers. Hudson Hawk is going to be classed as a flop. He probably would struggle to get a job after that for a while because, you know, I mean, I love it. I love Hudson Hawk, but some people just don't get it.
Right. I'm curious now what came after that for Bruce Willis. Do we know? Do you think off the top of your head? Or
What, Hudson Hawk?
What came after Hudson Hawk for?
Well, it was Die Hard and then Die Hard 2. He did that one with Debbie Moore, Immortals, whatever. And then he was quick to Death Becomes Her and all that's around that era as well.
Yeah. Which I thought that was such a twist on his kind of acting, like kind of genre. When you think of what he was doing, then Death Becomes Her, such a good film.
But he wasn't an action star. I think Die Hard was a fluke, and I think he'd already signed on to stuff. And Die Hard, he hadn't really established himself. I mean, he did do action movies and all that. But look at the Captain America fucking arcade machine. I want to.
The thing is, though, if you look at 91, he did a one called Mortal Thoughts, which was before Hudson.
That's the one I was on about with Debbie Miller.
Bathgate, but then The Last Boy Scout, which I think if you asked someone to name a film in 91 that Bruce Willis did, you're going to say Last Boy Scout, aren't you?
Well, it's a weird one, Last Boy Scout. It'd be a good podcast, actually, because like it's a Tony Scott movie. It's like...
Yeah.
It starts off... It's got one of the best openings for a movie, right? Because it starts off, Friday night's a great night for football. For me, when I seen that, I've got no Americana football players, but like, it's hitting it home. It's got elements of the 80s, especially if you watched any of the WrestleManias at that time, especially at the video packages. And then it completely changes. You've got probably the same composer as Die Hard on this, because it gets really creepy. You've got Billy Blanks, basically, is it Billy Blanks? It's something like that. Basically gets that phone call, it's a rainy night, you can feel the cold, he runs down the pitch, fucking shoots everybody, then blows his fucking head off, and it is so graphic, and you think, fuck me, that's the first 5 minutes of that movie.
Yeah.
It completely, like, you know what I mean? Talk about shifting the pendulum from the credits to what the rest of it does. But I just don't think Damon Wayans and Bruce Willis gel that well.
No.
I think maybe Damon Wayans is a kind of actor. I think he had a few hits, but I think he's more of an Americana name. My Wife and Kids and all that's really popular.
I was about to say, like, My Wife and Kids is the main thing. Like, he's done a few different things, but
like More Money and stuff like that, or Major Payne. He kind of had them movies that were a bit like Blank Man and some weird shit, but then never really got in scary movies or anything with Marlon. Marlon's in More Money, and it kind of just didn't do anything. It's like, because what's the older brother called? Keenan from I'm Gonna Get You Sucker.
I was going to say Keenan was more behind the scenes, though, wasn't he?
Director, yeah, I fucking love that movie.
Directing and stuff like that.
It's a real gun.
I could say the.
Fucking Chris Farley, man, was like, oh shit. But he kind of like Chris Farley, he's on the rise here. He does this. He pops up in Billy Madison. He has obviously Tommy Boy and Black Sheep, and then Beverly Hills Ninja, and then I think he not long passed after that, which was unfortunate.
I know this is it. I mean, do you think that Chris Farley would have gone in? You think he would have went quiet? Do you think it would have been like? I don't know if you would have been able to maintain that kind of energy. I feel like if he was still around today, I think he would have gone he maybe still do a couple of things with Adam Sandler, but I don't think he'll actually.
I think if Chris Farley hadn't died, I don't think we would have had a Jack Black. I know Jack Black was around, but I think Jack Black maybe took a few roles that Chris Farley probably would have been given.
Yeah.
That's just off short, fat, funny guy. That kind of casting choice. Because Jack Black, Demolition Man, Waterworld, you think, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And fair enough, Mars Attacks, but then Jack Black literally, he really starts getting them roles going into obviously the later 90s.
Yeah. I like how he just hands the gun back to him. He's like, nah, not for me.
He's essentially part of the band now. I mean, he's sort of like...
Yeah. I'll tell you what, that's got to sting, that fire extinguisher to the face.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Judd Nelson back again. He's a weird one.
He
He's
was
been.
a massive highlight in the Breakfast Club. Do you not think it was a shock that he didn't get bigger roles?
Was he not just like a bad boy
right.
though? Isn't that why he called the? Because like I mean, he's in like New Jack City. He's in films that are he's almost unrecognizable in.
Yeah. I mean, it might have been a smart move on his play to go, you know what it is, I don't want to be known as that guy who's going to be like typecast and stuff like that. So if you definitely look at his body of work, it's so many different types of film that he's done. Mostly more adulted, you know, like a bit more like kind of thriller, kind of action, kind of roles, but nothing too major.
Yeah, still can't get over Short Circuit 2. I mean, I was like, oh yeah, that's him from Short Circuit 2. I was like, why have I never seen the Indian guy in it? I didn't realise the Indian guy was white.
Yeah,
Fisher Stevenson and I.
You were going to go with that because I remember you saying that.
I was just.
I don't know why you didn't think he was white, mate. I mean,
fuck off! He does it so well.
He's clearly a white man.
No, what in Short Circuit?
I mean, you couldn't get away with it today, would you?
Aye, but it was. Aye, but I generally. I mean, obviously, I didn't even click. I was right. He's the baddie in Hackers. Is the Hackers? Aye, Hackers. He's in obviously Super Mario. We were talking about this with Super Mario. Yeah, we did the podcast for that. I was like realizing that he's fucking white. I was like, what?
Yeah. I kind of take it back now because, right, I'm looking at it, right, so Jude Nelson, so he does Breakfast Club.
Mm-hmm.
Now he comes away and does St. Elmo's Fire, which I think I think that's underrated. I think obviously Breakfast Club's amazing, but I think St. Elmo's Fire had a very different tone to it for a Brat Pack kind of comedy drama. It was really well done. But then he actually voiced Rodimus Prime.
Oh yeah, Transformers the movie.
From Transformers the movie. I thought, that's a big move, that, like. That's a massive film. But then, of course, I'm looking after that, and it's very much, he's a busy lad, like I say. You've got New Jack City in that, Tales from the Crypt. So he stays very much an active member of Hollywood. Poor David Arquette.
Not allowed back in.
See, now I think, and it would never happen, let's be honest with you, but let's have fun with it, right? I think there's a really good sketch here somewhere where you kind of have 10-minute video where it's like a documentary. And it's like an anniversary. It's been like 20 years since the Lone Rangers did it, and just literally have Adam Sandler, Steve Buscemi, and Brendan Fraser today all sitting in prison, just sitting there reminiscing, saying, you know, we've got the royalties and we've got the fame, but we've never been able to get out of prison.
I think like
a 10-minute sketch just to show you like what they've been doing and how old they are now.
I think it's but they could have done something. I mean, it worked for. Again, have you seen Bad News, the Ed Edmondson thing?
Not off the top of my head. I mean, I might have.
Part of the comedy strip, they did like 2 40-minute documentaries, and they did it, and it was really funny. And they did it years, but they actually filmed live at Dalton Park and stuff, like download and stuff like that. And absolutely like genius. And how, I mean, obviously how they didn't do something like now like that, but definitely inspiring to watch. That's really worth buying that box at the comedy strip one.
Right.
No deal. We're getting to nearly the end of this, dude. Like, because obviously they're about to refuse the record deal, and you know, they go out there and then sort of like they hit the song, and then it sort of really fast tracks to the end of the movie.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, there's only about 10 minutes left, but again, if it knows what it's trying to sell, every part of the film is being used well. You know what I mean? No like filler. There's no like trying to kill time with it.
I think I had the average is to get it. Okay. I don't think a comedy should really go to 2 hours.
Nah. Back in the day, when you could just not sign a contract on a table, had to be on someone's back.
Is it Running Man when he stabs him in the back of the fucking back with a pen?
Yeah, yeah.
I can't believe Running Man comes back. I'll get on Monday, another version of it.
I know, it seems to be that's the thing at the moment, doesn't it? It seems to have like some of these films just have a trend where they just seem they get like multiple releases all in one go, and then obviously you got films like this that really need a good.
I mean, I can see this. I mean, again, it's under the Disney banner, but I can see this being an 88, not an arrow, but like an 88. There's definitely, but it would. I think this will probably end up just getting a flat, basic bullshit fucking release. Now, I was talking to a guy who calls in called Chris, and it's someone I've been testing for people here. Basically, I think, like, there's enough media out there, social media groups, fucking Instagram, you name it, where, if someone's a fan of it, reach out to them and go, he's one CGI shot coming here. Reach out and go, right, look, we're gonna, like, not mass produce this, but if you're interested, like a Kickstarter, we're gonna bring an edition out, this movie out, and then basic on that. Like, right, this is what people pay, right, that's the price, but yeah, you're guaranteed that these are pre-orders, not doing like pre-orders like Oppenheimer's just happened where they haven't made enough steelbooks and the fucking resale market's through the fucking roof. Like films like this, you want it. I mean, there's so much stuff coming out at the minute, like of stuff I've never even fucking heard of. And I kind of feel like the 90s, the late 80s and the 90s are completely getting missed. And I generally think it's because of rental rights. I think there's obviously some kind of, fallout of ownership of stuff, because it doesn't make any sense. Because you've got loads of these films, I need to see this. And, like, I think King Kong Lives only got a Blu-ray release and they were only you had to pre-order it. And then they weren't mass producing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. But this is it, I mean, it's proven time and time again with Kickstarters and stuff like that, like, it's basically how you get things sold, because it's literally telling you, you're going to have someone sign up and literally say, I will buy a copy of that. So why would you want to risk making an obscure film and put it on Blu-ray and then, like, make, say, 50,000 copies and then have it sit on a shelf? Like you say, a studio like that should be doing that. Like, just what you said, just literally take as many films as they can, stick it on the pole and say, right, guys, tell me which one you wanted to make and I'll do it.
Well, there's loads of...
But then again, like I say, it's all royalties now, isn't it? It's like, everyone wants a piece of the cake, so...
Well, if it goes on the streaming...
Like, people look and go, it's not worth it.
There's some great films on streaming and not on physical media, and people want physical media. Just look at Prey. Prey is sold out on Monday, coming out. And, like, the Mandalorian and all that's coming out, but I'm like, it just seems weird that these films find a market and then they're just going to, like, disappear.
Well, I mean, this has been a massive thing coming, though. I mean, obviously, I remember Mandalorian first coming out on Disney Plus, and the first thing people were saying is, are we ever going to see a physical copy? And literally, Disney Plus, point blank, nope. We're not doing physical media. We're going to put everything on Disney Plus. You'll not be able to move for all the content on Disney Plus. And keeping in mind now, they've removed a lot of stuff, stuff that you can never see again. I mean, don't get me wrong, some people didn't like it, but you would never see Willow, the TV series, again, because it would never get a physical media release, and they've removed it from Disney Plus. So, like, that's why we could go into a rant on our own about the whole idea that streaming's all right. I'm not anti-streaming, but it's just evidence that it's not guaranteed, and there's no security whatsoever.
Well, we watched...
It should be physical release, and Disney are now learning their lesson, because now look at them. They're re-releasing like so much stuff that they're doing on Disney Plus exclusive, because they've realised, hold on a minute, people want this.
And Netflix are doing it as well. Netflix have started doing that. Obviously,
Yeah.
Criterion Collection does a lot of like The Irishman, and then if you look at All Quiet on the Western Front, so they are starting to dibble dabble in it as well. But
Oh, I mean, they're eating the works now because they realise people are dropping off. I mean, Netflix pissed a lot of people off by saying, right, that's it, you're no longer sharing passwords. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not something I would tell everyone to go and do. But, I mean, when we live in a world where you can find, Dodgy Dave and a Fire Stick around the corner, and then you can get anything you want, from a piracy level. And so the problem that you have now is that it's like they're getting a bit too big for the boots, saying, oh, it's all right, we control what we put on. But then people are saying, all right, no worries, I'll find it somewhere else. Especially streaming as well, because it's instant kind of upload. You notice that if anyone's going to get a copy of a film or a TV series, I guarantee you, if it's on a streaming services, it will be available 24 hours later on a legal site. But in cinemas, that was harder to do because you're passing around the film itself.
I mean, as the film as they mosh pit, I remember a few weeks back, this guy, I've got to get the prison thing here. There was a guy in our shop and he was just talking, he was asking, he's going, on the fire stick, on the fire stick, on the fire stick, and I went, on the piracy, on the piracy, on the piracy. And his last burst out laughing, he went, it's private conversation, mate. I was like, it is, but you're standing right where I work, in the department I work, being derogatory about where I work. So, I've got every right just to sort of take the mick out of you. Fair enough. Like, some people don't want to pay for films. You know what I mean? And that's it. But, you've got to remember, people do want to pay for films. And there needs to be a physical out there. Like, people like to browse Discovery. And I discovered this through the art of trailers, because trailers aren't really a thing now on a DVD.
No, they're not at all. You don't get anything on physical media anymore, do you?
And it's kind of like...
That was the only way you found things out, though, didn't you? I still remember, getting rental VHS, and then part of getting the VHS was looking forward to seeing what trailer you were going to see before.
Oh, dude, I watched Ski Patrol Baked the other week, right? And I put it on, and I don't know if I said... I was talking to you, because I was on about why has Charlie Sheen got 3 trailers on this film?
You were saying that.
Because Men at Work, Courage Mountain, and then a one with Martin Sheen. I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
Then it was Men at Work, wasn't it?
Yeah, Men at Work's such a great film. So the Lone Rangers...
I think I mentioned that yesterday. I always remember, I can tell you the cover, I can say I've seen the trailer a million times, but it's one of the films I've never gotten around to watching.
Well, we've hit the end credits at my end here as well, as you get to hear the song. The song, I think, really lives up to the hype. It's like 8 Mile. It kind of, you hear a little bit at the start there, and there you go, and voice of Beavis and Butthead, Mike Judd. And I think this film stands up so well.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I say, I haven't seen it for years, and watching it, and I can honestly say, as weird as it might sound, but it just is entertaining to watch. I mean, like I say, it's the faces, it's the pace of the film, it's the one-liners that are like you say, are memorable. You can still say it to this day, and you and Casper will still be sitting there going, fucking hell, what was that from? You know what I mean? It says a lot about a film when you can say, well, it's just a bit of a dick and joke film, but it stands out.
Oh, I mean, it's as I said, I love the soundtrack, I love the score, I loved introducing it to people at the area, because that's, again, as well, you hang out at your mate's house, especially when this came out, and you wouldn't have Netflix. You would have a very slim collection if you had a VHS player. Not everyone had a VHS player, when DVDs went around. And I was always the one, had videos and stuff like this. And obviously, this is the one I would show my friends to, or like watching it, you know what I mean? It's extremely funny, video playback, Los Angeles. But no, I think it's a great one. As I said, I just think it's a crime that it's not available, even with the star power of the main 3 as well.
Yeah. Did you say, though, how lenient that sentence was?
What's that?
3 months.
What do you mean 3 months?
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, eh? I mean, the kidnapping alone will get you out a couple of years. And, of course, fair enough, they weren't real guns if you weren't aware, so...
Aerosmith?
I thought it was a hell of a film, and I love how it still kind of had its way into society. Like a friend of mine, and she's relatively young. She's 22 years old, but I mean, she loves Seinfeld. So like, as soon as you would say something like this, it would be I know Airheads, because it's like that link to the film. So I feel like when you do have a film like this that has so many different kind of actors in, I still think for many different generations, you're still going to have like a lot of outlet for it. Hence why I'm surprised it hasn't been given a physical release in the last few years, because I feel like, you got all the names, but maybe they did. It's maybe just an expensive one to do. Maybe just going to Simon and saying, by the way, mate, do you want to re-release this? I give it like 20% of whatever it makes,
I don't think Sandler's got any. I mean, 1994, man.
All the names attached to it now.
I mean, do you think Adam Sandler wants Overboard? And you remember that? That was everywhere, that shitty Adam Sandler film, Overboard.
Yeah, very true, yeah.
But again...
I do think that'll be my only guess why that is so many names attached to it. That it might just be we can't make any money off this, because there's a lot of big people in there now, and they might want a piece of the pie.
Well, it's out of 5, isn't it? How many Lone Rangers?
Right.
Out of 5.
Out of 5. Look at you, you've changed your ways.
What is it, 10?
Out of 10. You give it grief when I said.
Alright, so out of 10, how many Lone Rangers?
Out of 10, okay, yeah. I mean, this is it. This is where I have to really think about it. How many Lone Rangers out of 10? I would say the controversial one. I think I would say I'm gonna give it. I'm torn between. Believe it or not, I'm torn between 8 and 9.
Honestly,
it's a really strong film,
mate. That's what I was thinking. That generally what I was thinking. I thought I'm going to say 8 or 9 here, and Carl's going to tell me to go fuck myself. I generally thought no, right. Let's say you're right, between 8 and 9. So let's call it 8.5, right? Lone Rangers.
Right.
Like, the casting is brilliant for how well it was cast for where the cast would propel in the future.
Yeah.
It's an ensemble cast led by the three, because even the back cast and the cameos, Fox Plaza, the little Die Hard kind of reference there, the soundtrack, Rob Zombie's in there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it is a part of the Adam Sandler, because you've got Alan Corvette in there, which is Adam Sandler's running buddy. And then obviously Steve Buscemi and Adam Sandler would go on to Steve Buscemi's in pretty much every single Adam Sandler film.
Yeah, this is it, yeah.
But it's not classed as a Happy Madison production. But again, you were on about writing there. Maybe Adam Sandler does want this back in his repertoire, but then where does that leave it? Because everything Adam Sandler does now is Netflix.
Yes, true. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, when you name all those things, it's like, I still find it would be hard to kind of describe to someone that you've got this film, describe the premise, yet find that Chris Farley still gets quite a decent amount of screen time outside of the action. It's not like he's just constantly outside the building interacting with them. He's like, at one point he's at a club, the next point he's on the street, and he's in it so much. Yeah, at the same time, he's not really classified as one of the main actors.
Well, the role
basically is a cameo, but at the same time, is about as good as a cameo gets without being a main actor.
Yeah, well,
I feel like that kind of shows you how they use every single person. They knew how genius he was, but thought, well, we can't give you a main role because there's nothing for you, but there's a role, you make it. And I think that's what makes the film so good, that everyone kind of just, almost like I mentioned at the beginning of the film, I feel like it gets a brief outline, and everyone got told, right, just do what you want to do with it and see what happens.
So I've got a little connection in my head there that Chris Farley is in Coneheads, which is a bigger role for him. Adam Sandler has a brief cameo in Coneheads. Coneheads stars Stan Aykroyd, and then you get to this and you've got Ernie Hudson and Harold Ramis in it there. So there's some connection there.
Yeah. So I think you have to challenge yourself and find a Bill Murray thing.
Bill Murray does what he wants when he wants. He don't fucking answer to anybody, Bill Murray. But Bill Murray at this time...
I mean, that was that documentary, and they're talking about, like, when they said we hired Bill Murray, and like, it was literally day one of shooting, and they still weren't entirely sure if he was actually coming.
Coming, yeah.
Like, I love the fact that he just had that kind of persona. But then it's actually something I watched recently, how he tells it from a very different angle, you know. Bill Murray, he's talking about like when he's on his way to film like Ghostbusters and that, and it's like a very different, like the way the lads talk about it is if it's like you know, kind of a chauvinistic, I'll turn up when I turn up look at it. There's actually a lot of different things going on there where he wasn't like kind of just being a big bollocks. I think it was a lot of anxiety, and that's what he was going through. So it was interesting. Sorry, sidetrack.
That's it. So we agree it's an 8.5, which is...
It's an 8.5, comfortably easy, yeah.
I think
we need we definitely need a reunion. I think that's something that Adam Sandler would probably be down for.
Well, they did do that picture recently. There was a picture around of them this year.
Was there?
Yeah, Adam Sandler and Brendan Fraser have been snapped together, and it's been that. But again, talking about that, the amount of fucking movies Adam Sandler's done and all the weird, gnarly fucking weirdness of in his world, Brendan Fraser has only popped up in Dickie Roberts' former child star, which is a Happy Madison film, with David Spade.
Right.
Now, David Spade, Chris Farley, so there's some connection there. And then if you think about it, Pauly Shore isn't in loads of Adam Sandler movies. So then you think, because Brendan Fraser popped up as Link from Encino Man in the Army Now and Son-in-Law as the same character with Pauly Shore.
Yeah.
And then Pauly Shore and him, different ways. You know what I mean? So kind of like...
Definitely.
But Brendan Fraser does have a bit of... There's a lot of controversy between him and Dwayne Johnson. You know, there seems to be an inner thing where, you know, does Brendan Fraser run with cliques, alienated? It's the social circle. Is, you know, how good of an actor he is, because he come completely different kind of person.
I think so, yeah, but I think there was a dynamic between like The Rock also trying to, you know, kind of make his mark on Hollywood, and it was like kind of Brendan Fraser was always like the, you know, like the kind of again going back to physique, the charm, the charisma and stuff like that. Whereas essentially, if you like looked at it, I mean, I don't think he would have done it, but like imagine like Brendan Fraser could have probably like kind of gone into the wrestling world. So I feel like there was definitely like between him and that, I think there's a lot of darkness between him and The Rock on The Mummy. I think it would have been a bit of dodgy play, and I don't even think it'd be between them as much. I would actually think it'd be between the behind the scenes. There'll be people playing them off each other.
But they weren't even in any roles together though. The Rock wouldn't have been there with the CGI, but again, it's all, again, you never know the full stories. I've got some stories to tell how a film works, the controversy. Sometimes actors don't even meet each other on screen. It's just the way Hollywood works.
Yeah.
So, this has been the podcast.
That's it. Well, a lot of people might not even believe that we're not in the same room, my friend.
Well, of course we are. You sound like you're singing in the tunnel half the time. But that's how we do it.
I mean, to be honest with you, these are not the best headphones, so if anyone has any problems, that is these are me backups, so...
No, it's been...
It's not the highest quality, but I think it's clear enough.
It's been a good shout, and it's been a good one to do without a fucking giant shark swimming around. I mean,
it's a different tone, for sure.
Well, again, we've had Jaws on the card for a while, but it has been great to get Airheads, and once again, this will be one of the new podcasts mastered a different way as well. So again, this is something that, you know,
well, this is it.
The trial.
I didn't give you a shout, mate. I would say try and do Coneheads.
Well, Coneheads...
I'm considering rewatching that, and I'd happily save it for a podcast.
Well, to be honest with you, I think with me, half the time I either forget we've done the podcast until I get a notification, or I'll be like, have we not fucking done that? Did it with Money Pit when I did Money Pit. We've done that many.
I thought it was some films.
But then I thought, like, you know what I mean? I don't mind revisiting films as well, especially if I've done them solo. But then I think it's also interesting to revisit films like when we did The Burbs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Tremors.
I mean... There's a lot of stuff out there that obviously, again, of course, we sit and think, fucking hell, did we do that one yet? You know, because we have done quite a lot. Like, obviously, lockdown, we were doing one every other day. But, yeah, I think, I mean, what was that other one, Waterworld?
The ongoing joke.
The ongoing joke. One day, and it would be a really good fucking podcast. I think it would just be, you know, just have to make a massive, like, full-on episode about it.
I mean, again, it's kind of... We'll wrap this up at the end here, but obviously it started with me and Jack as a podcast, as a way for, especially with Jack having the 3 kids at the time. Long story why I said at the time. Obviously, Jack has popped up since then. He appears in multiple podcasts. It's always funny when Jack's in it, even if it's a brief cameo. We had Paul, who obviously Paul's been through a lot as well. Paul will come back for Ghostbusters, he said that. But I think the biggest problem with me and Paul is we work together every day. Either I'm on the late, he's on it early. It's very hard to get time with Paul. So Paul comes and goes, but again, we've been carrying the boat for ages now. Sluggy, obviously Sluggy, you know, joined, and then the poor little buggers had cancer. You know, and he was really good on the podcasts. Obviously, Sluggy pops up with more recent videos. He's done the Bloodsport video with us. And obviously, we were looking to try and replace Paul with Mark from The Love of Movies, and then Mark obviously found out his wife Alex, who's obviously my best friend, was 6 months pregnant. They didn't realise, and that completely changed that dynamic. We had Matt Davies, who
people got lives. It's ridiculous.
Well, one of our recent videos released on Lonely Tree was me, you, and Matt when we watched that movie that night and reflecting it. We had a fucking blast because like Matt is really, really funny, full of stories, and obviously he was on, I think, Cliffhanger and stuff, and obviously he's also got kids. And then we had Big Dave, and we always knew with Big Dave it would be a limited time because of lockdown, and obviously having Big Dave on all the Batmans and stuff like that. And that's, you know, again, it's great to have guests on it, but I think like I've really enjoyed like these podcasts, even if they go out there and like, I mean, some get loads of listens and some I look and go, who the fuck is listening to us for that long?
Well, I like to think we entertain the crowd, but at the same time, it's a gamble, and I think it's
Dude,
I think
first
we also have a little bit of a when I say a gamble, I think like because a lot of people might think they're going to watch a film, and that's not the case with it. It's just a podcast.
Again, it says that, but
kind of look into the concept of it. There's a lot of people trying to be very commercial about, you know, being on a podcast or YouTube channel and stuff like that. They're trying to like kind of almost create like a professional kind of I don't know, like a studio kind of production. Whereas for me personally, one of the things that I love about this is that it's just me and you or whoever happened to be on the podcast. We're just randomly chatting about films. It's generally like the thought process that we had when we were like 15 when we first watched something, or how we think about it now. And there's not really much, there's no script. It's not like we sit and talk about it beforehand and say, right, we're going to mention this, we're going to do this. We just kind of riff off, and Lord knows they know about that about me, because I can go off on a tangent. But, you know, it's more honest, more genuine.
I mean, I get that when I see Footing First Blood and it's had like nearly 1 million views. I'm like, but then I like, it's not like, you maybe think you're watching a movie, but when you see like the runtime of how long it's been watched, and you think, fucking hell. It's like, I did a thing about the other day with Lonely Tree, and it was something like, it would take 10.5 years to watch the amount of footage, you know, the runtime of YouTube, and that's just insane. But again, I always say it's better than fuck all, and for now, thank you very much for listening. Goodbye for now.
Ciao.
Ciao. Every fucking time.